Hey everyone, welcome to a bit of a different video today where we're going to be talking about what Ukraine can do to win the war. The Kharkiv counterattack was a big breath of fresh air for Ukraine after months of a painful stalemate, but it looks like the war may be going back to where it was. Since about early May, every front slowed down and the Russians grinded troops on cities in the Donbass until they took them. I don't think we'll go back to that, but I think the war is going to enter a new phase. These are some of my predictions and recommendations for the war. I want to reiterate that I'm not a military strategist and I will be wrong about some and probably most of these things, but I'm just taking the most logical things that could happen and I'm applying them here. Starting from the south and going counterclockwise, I think that Ukraine will recapture Kherson by the end of the year. It's a pretty safe prediction considering the Russians are resorting to eco-terrorism to slow Ukraine's advances while rushing to build bridges to get supplies over there, and I talked about that a bit more in this video. If Ukraine is able to keep breaking pontoon bridges and starving out the troops west of the Dnieper, I don't think they'll be able to hold out for much longer. If they can make it through this year and into the winter, that will be even worse since the Ukrainians can keep striking any bridges that the Russians attempt to build and will take the city in the spring. Zaporizhia is the big wild card here. This region has a lot of potential for a counteroffensive. A lot of Russians believe that there would be one, which I talked about a bit more in the thumbnail of the video right here that I am too lazy to find the original file for. If I had to guess, this front will probably remain stagnant over the winter, but really anything can happen here. I'm going to split the Donetsk region into two and talk about those parts separately. I don't think too much is going to happen in the southern Donetsk region. Maybe some advances northwest of Donetsk city or a Ukrainian counteroffensive near Vuhledar, but that's it. However, the northern Donetsk region is the region that will have the most action until winter. Ukraine is currently trying to take back Liman and push to cities near Lychansk and Severodonetsk. If successful, that would be a big blowback to the Russians, essentially wiping away all their progress they've made since May. But I'm doubtful they'll be able to retake Severodonetsk unless they do what I'll explain in the second half of the video. Near the northern Luhansk Kharkiv region, east of the Oskil River, I'm not really sure what's going to happen here. I think we'll need another week to see what happens in this direction. There have been unconfirmed reports of Russians fortifying Svatov and Troitsky near the northwestern Luhansk region. If Ukraine can take these cities, that would be great. If you're still watching, you're probably interested in the Ukraine conflict, and I cover it daily, so you can subscribe to see all the videos I make. And once I hit 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to turn monetization on this channel, and then I can donate the money that I make to Ukraine. So dropping a subscribe is a donation to Ukraine. On to the second part of this video. What should Ukraine do to win the war? If I was in complete control of the Ukraine armed forces, this is what I would do to attempt to win. I think honestly, even though it's the most costly, I think what Ukraine's doing in Kherson is the best option. If they just keep slowly wearing down Russian lines and breaking any bridges that they make, I think that will probably win on this front. Zaporizhia, I would try something like this. Keep in mind, this is completely disregarding if Ukraine is even able to do this. This is just, if I had God on my side, this is what I'd do. I'd attempt an offensive towards Melitopol, and then from there towards Berdyansk and towards Mariupol, possibly pulling in troops from Vuhledar down too. Then I would drive a wedge in between Crimea and Kherson to completely cut off the Kherson region from supply. In Donetsk, I'm not really sure what I'd do. I've seen that Ukrainian troops are already attempting to encircle the city by possibly building up around Vuhledar or some other cities, so I think that's probably just, I'd keep going there. I'm not sure what to do with Donetsk. I'd probably just play it defensive there. Now, the strategy that I think would work for Luhansk is attempt to take Liman, and once from there, push across the east of the Oskil River, which Ukraine has already managed to land troops over there. And then after that, push to Staroblisk, which would be a massive accomplishment if they are able to do it. And then from there, use the position to set up a two-pronged attack on Severodonetsk and Lychansk. Alright, now I know all of that made me sound like I play Hearts of Iron 4, and trust me, I don't. But I'm also in high school, so I mean, I did my best. I drew some maps about what the potential front lines could look at the end of this year, and I'll go through them. Starting with the least optimistic, this is one where Russia breaks through Kramatorsk and Sloviansk as well as in the southern Donetsk region. I think this one is extremely unlikely considering how slow Russian advances have been and the fact that they're facing a really big troop shortage right now. This is a version of that map where they just take Sloviansk and Kramatorsk, but I still don't think that this will happen in this year. This map right here is a map of the current front lines, which I think is plausible. It could stay still into another stalemate, but I I think some movement will happen. If I had to go with any one of these maps, it'd be this one, where they liberate Kherson, but the other front lines stay pretty much similar. This one is interesting. This is where Ukraine is able to take Svatov, Troitsky, and Liman. I think this one is plausible too. I think it's about as plausible as it just staying the same, but I still think this one is the most likely. Then this one is like a wet dream scenario where they also take Staroblisk, but I don't think that's going to happen this year. Alright, wow, that was the longest video I made. If you're not interested in my channel, then you can click off here. But I just want to say thank you guys for providing me a platform to share stuff and do what I love. And like my last video got 2,000 views in the first day, which is crazy. And I just want to say thank you guys so much. Goodbye.